Here, I'm going to show you how we can solve linear equations specifically using our calculator. We're going to solve these almost entirely on the calculator. So first off, let's say I have an set of equations like this. I have two variables and two equations. Now, one way you could do it is using substitution or elimination. These are methods that you're taught. But I'm going to show you how we can just enter this in a calculator. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this without any of the x's and y's. So there's a 2, a 3, and a 4, a 3, a -8, and a 9. Now what I'm putting this into is what's called a matrix. You don't really have to know what a matrix is. It just means we list out the numbers. And it will know that, hey, the first number goes with the x, the second number goes with the y, and the last number goes with the constant on the other side. So now that we've written this out, let's enter this into our calculator so that it knows what we have. So on the calculator, I'm going to hit the second matrix button, and then I go to matrix A, but I want to go to edit it. So I'll hit the over a couple times and go to edit matrix A. Now we have to tell it its dimensions. So this is a 2 by 3 matrix because you'll see there are 2 rows and 3 columns. And so that's how many entries we have. There's 6 entries. So we'll type in 2, enter, 3 in the calculator. And now we just type in what we have. So 2, 3, 4. So I'll type 2, enter, 3, enter, 4. It automatically goes to the next spot. And then 3, enter, -8, enter, and 9, enter. So now we have the matrix plugged into our calculator. And now we have 2 choices actually on how we can solve this. So what I'm going to do is go back to quit. So I hit second, quit, and go back to the home screen. And I'm going to go to second matrix. But this time, instead of editing it, I'm going to do some math. Now there's a whole lot of things on here that if you end up taking linear algebra, you'll learn what most of these are. However, we really don't care. Right now, we're just looking at how to solve some equations. So if I go down to what's called RREF, it stands for reduced row echelon form. You don't need to worry about what that means, but if we hit enter there, it asks what matrix. So we'll go back to second matrix, and then this time just go to the name A, hit enter. Doesn't matter if we end the close parentheses or not. Hit enter, and it gives us an equivalent system. So this tells me that we have 102.3601 -0.24. Now, every time we do this, this first half will always be the same. You can just ignore that. It doesn't matter. What really matters is the last portion, which is this part. So it tells me that x is 2.36. It's the first number, is the first one in this equation here, and y is -0.24. So this, I think, is one of the easiest ways that you can solve a system of equations. There is one more way that I can show you. However, if you liked this way, there's no reason to do the second one. But I think it's good to see them both and then just choose which one you like. They're both basically the same thing. Here, we're going to do the same exact solution, and I've just kind of written up at the top our answer to the previous one to make sure we get the same answer. So what I'm going to do in this case is actually make 2 matrices. So instead of last time I put a 2 by 3 matrix, this time I'm just going to do the 2, 3, 3, -8, and then I'm going to do 4, 9 by itself. So I'm going to set this to be my A matrix, and I'm going to set this one to be my B matrix in the calculator. So to do that, I go to the matrix, second matrix, just like we did before. I'm going to go to edit, and then I'm going to go to matrix A, so enter. And A in this case is a 2 by 2 matrix because there's only 2 columns. And we enter the 2, 3, oh, they're already there just because we entered it last time. So now I quit and go to the second matrix again. This time I'm going to go down to matrix B. Well, actually I have to go to edit first and then to B. Now this one is a 2 by 1 matrix. And you can see it's the right shape. There's just 2 entries, 4 and 9. So I'll quit that. And now what we need to do is actually do A inverse B. Now, the reason why we do this is a linear algebra thing again, but you don't need to worry about what that means necessarily if you're in early algebra. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to go back to matrix A, inverse. I'm just going to hit this to the -1 button and enter. That's A inverse. But I can just multiply now by matrix B. So A inverse times B is 2.36 and -0.24. So you can see we actually got the same answer. It still means the same thing. X is that one and Y is that one. So now we can solve linear equations very easily on our calculator. Now, to show you the power of this, let me give you one more example. Here we're given a set of 3 equations and 3 variables, which, as you probably know, is significantly harder to solve. It's going to take a lot longer to solve using algebra, but using the matrix, it doesn't matter. We could have 10 variables and 10 equations, and the only difficulty is just entering it into our calculator. So one thing that I didn't mention earlier, and I probably should have, so I'm going to mention that now, is that we need to have it in the right order. We have x, y, z, and a constant. It has to be in that order. X, y, z, constant. X, y, oh no, there's no z, and the constant's in the wrong spot. So this equation isn't going to work. Instead, let's rewrite it. So I'm going to rewrite it as 3x plus 8y plus 0z is equal to 5. I moved the 5 to the other side. So now this equation is right. So I'm going to ignore this one and think of these 3. But otherwise, everything is exactly what we've done before. So I'm going to do the reduced row echelon form version, although if you want to do the other one, it's exactly the same idea. So I'm going to rewrite this as 1, 1, -1, 5. That's the first row, the first equation. 2, -3, 4, 6. And 3, 8, 0, 5. So let's go ahead and type that into our calculator. So I'm going to go to second, matrix, edit, matrix A. This is now a 3 by 4 matrix because we have 3 rows and we have 4 columns. Let's see, we got 1, 1, -1, 5. This is the hardest part, is just typing it in. 2, -3, 4, 6, 3, 8, 0, and 5. Now that we've got it typed in, we're just going to go to the matrix math, RREF, just like before. And then we have to give it the matrix, so matrix A. So that tells us that x is 4.51, y is -1.07, and z is -1.55. 56, whatever. And so that was it. We're done. Now, one last thing I'm going to mention just for some advice. A lot of teachers want you to enter this in exact form. Unfortunately, that's not what we have, right? But we can solve that by going to math and then fraction. So it's going to turn the previous answer into a fraction. And so you can see, oh, hey, now we know it's 203 over 45 is x. And it's -16 over 15 is y. And z is -14 over 9, just like we see on the calculator. So I hope now you've seen how we can easily solve linear equations using a calculator.